Now I might be able to guess what you're thinking. Casualty, you're not very good at this game. And you'd be right. But I'm guessing this also happens to you. Now before you click off this video thinking it's going to be a negative video bashing Tarkov, it's not. I enjoy Tarkov and for reasons that you probably won't think of, but I'll tell you shortly. Tarkov has so many tools and mechanics packed into it that it could classify as an auto body shop. This video alone could probably end up as a movie itself with how much I would have to explain, so I'm going to briefly explain some of the systems in this game, so some information may be left out, just be aware of that and feel free to add to what I've said in the comments below. First of all, you have to eat food and drink water, which helps level up your metabolism. A skill in the game, along with many others, that gains experience and gives you extra benefits at different ranks, but with metabolism, when you feed yourself it slowly gains experience. Failing to keep yourself fed causes adverse effects like dehydration and lack of energy, making you lose stamina and health over time, causing you pain, making your vision darken, and eventually if you go long enough without food or water, death. Tarkov also has a limb system to go hand in hand with your health. This is probably going to be the longest explanation, and even then I'll probably still leave something out, so that being said, each body part has a corresponding amount of HP attached to it. Your head, thorax, or chest is the most important of these body parts, followed by 2 arms, 2 legs, and your stomach. If your head or thorax are destroyed or blacked out, which is a term often used by the community since the color goes away from the limb and it becomes blacked out. Anyway, the next round that hits you in one of those areas kills you. That's it, your run is over, but that's not all. The other body parts have different effects too. Certain parts of your body can have different effects on them without being fully destroyed or blacked out. For example, your arms, causing you to loot containers slower and use items slower. It also causes you to reload, draw, and aim your weapons slower as well. Now that's if the body part is fine, but they're just fractured. The next part of this happens if your body part is destroyed. You keep all the above effects that I just mentioned, but you add on this as well. If somebody shoots you in that destroyed body part, 70% of the damage dealt by that round is distributed over the entire body's health pool. Your stomach can't be fractured, but if destroyed, you've officially hit the timer on your impending death, because you just gained massively increased water and energy consumption, meaning you better hope you get some Cheez-Its or some Mountain Dew on you, or you better start making your way to extract. Hitting this idea home, if another round hits your destroyed stomach, the damage, just like with the arms, will be distributed over your entire health pool. But this time, it is at 150% of the damage dealt, so if I dealt 100 damage to you with a round originally, I am now dealing 150 damage. Moving on to your legs, oh those poor legs. There's no armor for your legs in the game as of this video, so they're prime targets for hollow points and shotguns and just shooting at them in general. Allow me to tell you why. Your legs, when destroyed or fractured, causes you to have your movement speed reduced by 45%, gives you reduced jump height, and if you sprint on that busted leg, you cause further damage to that leg. While they're destroyed, any further damage like your other extremities distribute that damage over your body's health pool at 100% of the damage dealt. This combines into a valid tactic, especially if you have bad ammo or if you have a bad case of the shakes to instead shoot for the legs. There's also a face hitbox. It's not technically attached to the limb system, but with that said, in this game certain helmets can have a face shield, potentially blocking rounds fired at the face. If there's not a faceplate or a face shield and a round is fired there, the head takes full damage. This allows pistols and bad ammo a chance to kill even the beefiest of chads if they're not wearing a face shield, as I said. Typically people don't, and I'll explain why later when we talk about audio. Now I mentioned bad ammo. Yeah, that's right. You have an intense ammo and armor system where different levels of armor protect better against different varieties of ammo types, and there are a ton of ammo types and weapons in this game. So much so that for me it's a little annoying because out of all those ammo types, only a few of them for each weapon truly matter. So what am I saying? Each ammo type has a penetration value, flesh damage, meaning damage to non-armored areas, and fragmentation chance, the chance that the bullet fragments into pieces on impact. Some ammo types also change how much recoil you gain or lose, and some give chances to bleed or even heavy bleed, and can also have different muzzle velocities, and more. This is just the bare bones of a few of the systems going on in this game, with plenty more that I haven't talked about. I haven't talked about the hideouts, fixing your destroyed limbs via field surgery, and more which will add to this video's runtime. It feels like there's so much fluff and the ammo variation when there doesn't need to be. After a certain point into a fresh wipe, people are kitted to the nines, stocked in decent ammo, weapons stored for the end of days, stacks of rubles so they can buy whatever they want. It can be pretty daunting as a new player coming to this game, especially during mid-wipe if you've never played a military simulator, but Tarkov is something more. Now I've already told you a lot of information in a short amount of time, but I need to explain the gameplay loop of Tarkov. In Tarkov, you set yourself up with gear before your raid. Weapons, ammo, backpacks, consumables, plate carriers, tactical rigs, helmets, and more. When you get into raid, you have a time limit to get whatever it is you want to be done and get out. If you don't get out in time, you're counted as MIA or missing in action, and anything you've looted and the stuff you brought in is lost. The same applies when you're killed. On top of that, if you've ever played Call of Duty or any similar arcade shooters, you may have noticed there's no kill cam in Tarkov, and as you saw earlier, when you die, that's it. You lose your gear, and you're back to the lobby to pick new gear that you haven't lost yet to go back to that location or a different one and press your luck again, trying to get that quest item or maybe some better gear to bring in the next raid. This is the gameplay loop of Tarkov that you either love or hate. This is seen in two ways. It's either addicting to you or drives you away from playing it because it stresses you out. Speaking of stressing you out, no game I have ever played has given me a feeling of anxiety that Tarkov does, and I mean this in a good way. Allow me to explain. The sound design in this game is unrivaled. Listening to leaves rustling, sticks breaking underfoot, and the satisfying audio that all weapons in the game bring when they're interacted with or fired is amazing in itself. I have a lot of hours in Tarkov, and I still jump, especially when it's been quiet for way too long, and all of a sudden a round whips by my ears, or even worse, into my body. This audio changes when you equip a full helmet that covers your ears, because it muffles audio in the game, making it harder to hear in exchange for giving you better head protection. Typically, these styles of helmets are also the ones with face shields and faceplates. People in Tarkov love being able to hear every little footstep and sound cue so much that they don't want to ruin that by equipping a full helmet, and I don't blame them. Again, I told you a lot of information in a short amount of time, but now we get to my favorite part. You can go wild modifying your firearms with different ammo types, magazines, receivers, barrels, stocks, pistol grips, foregrips, charging handles, and more. You can make the weapon of your dreams, or you can do some funky shit like slapping on 5 flashlights and making your enemies stare into the sun moments before their death. Did I mention the sounds? This is what I enjoy so much about Tarkov. How different each weapon looks, feels, fires, and sounds. This is the realism part of the game that I love so much. How intricate the gunsmithing portion of the game is, making it so I can make a monstrosity or a really cool firearm. With this all being said, I don't want the devs to change Tarkov. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Tarkov, but I do think that there needs to be a middle ground because there's a sense of escapism when you play games. Most of the time you don't expect true realism when you play a video game. After all, if it was truly one-to-one real, it wouldn't be fun, right? You typically play video games to escape from reality, and Tarkov feels like it adds a portion of that back in, and to me, it feels like it's on the heavier side of realism, and as the gaming community has evolved, the word casual has become sort of a derogatory term. Sometimes used to mean that it takes less effort, it's slower paced, or many other things, but I think that a good game strikes a balance between both. A game that punches you in the face of realism from time to time, while being an escape from reality itself. I'm sure many of you have played a game with an amazing story that grabbed your emotions and ran with them. Like some people out there that have played the Sacrifice questline in Warframe.
We had created monsters we couldn't control. We drugged them, tortured them, eviscerated them. We brutalized their minds, but it did not work. Until they came. And it was not their force of will, not their void devilry, not their alien darkness. It was something else. It was that somehow, from within the derelict horror, they had learned a way to see inside an ugly, broken thing. And take away its pain.
Or even some of the dads watching might have gotten all choked up when they played the intro to the first Last of Us game and saw what happened to Sarah.
Please don't. Oh no. Sarah? Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. Listen to me, I know this hurts. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby, I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby, I know.
Sarah? Baby? Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. No. No. No, no, please. Please don't. Please.
Both instances probably brought up memories in your life and gave you something to think about. Games are just as good as movies when it comes to carrying emotion, teaching morals, and learning more about yourself than you realized. They can tell a story of a kid trying to get by in a dangerous world.
You have to shoot me, honey.
Please, no.
It's okay. It's okay. And Megan, first days we met, do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
When I went out to rescue that boy Glenn, we met a girl. She'd been bitten too. All she wanted was to not come back as a walker.
Lee?
And I remember how hard it was to do that. But I'm glad I did. You don't want to see me like one of them.
Okay, Lee. I can do it. I can.
Don't be afraid.
Or the horrors of war.
Why?
You brought this on yourself.
We were helping.
What? Oh no.
Are those civilians?
Where'd they come from? There's no camp here.
They took him from the nest.
That hotel back at the storm wall? No, those can't be the civvies that got kidnapped. It's not possible.
Yeah, it is. That's why Gould stormed this place. He didn't want the gate. He was trying to rescue his people.
Your fault, goddammit! Stop right there, Lugo. What it is, he wanted we didn't have a choice. He turned us into fucking killers. Enough, Sergeant. No!
So I have an important question to ask you. How much realism is too much realism? This is the first video where I've actually made a script for it so I didn't go off track, even though I did a little bit. I hope it was enjoyable. Please leave me some feedback in the comments and consider subscribing and hitting the like button. I'll see you all in the next one.